Hey, welcome to Snideful.
I'm Tucker.
I'm Todd. Other orders of business not related to the episode, are there any? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we can start launching into this thing. I don't know. I guess I'll say them because I'm not sure where to slot them in. Maybe I'll slot them in. How do we add a comment again? I'm dropping things.
You're just out of control already.
Out of control. Add comment right at the top. Things to consider. The reason that we came up with the remaster at all was because Putin was in the news. So I haven't even read your notes. So I'm just putting pudding is important / tied into dictators and despots. Another thing that is important is Paperboy. Paperboy was born from the concept that our entire reality was made out of paper puppets.
Oh, yeah.
Which is no longer our reality. So being that this is the remaster, this could require some deliberation. I'm not sure. Because paper is no longer as important of a role, does that make room for us to totally eliminate the concept of Paperboy? Maybe he's a little blip of a thing or a joke that we can insert somewhere else. Or maybe Putin takes the identity of Paperboy. Paperboy is Putin or Puddin or whatever.
Oh, we create pudding? That'd be hilarious.
Oh, I guess I wasn't even trying to say that we create pudding, but that something that we do in the game enables, like maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Because we created Paperboy, and he eventually held us responsible for his existence, which is why he hated us so much.
Yeah, that's right. That's kind of funny if we create pudding and he holds us responsible, and that's why he hates the world.
Yeah, he's the ultimate I hate everything. I must destroy the world.
Yeah, so I don't know if I wanted to set up that Puddin replaces Paperboy as the villain for the season, because he ties into several other things later.
And Puddin is going to be a villain for a long while. I think.
Yeah, so I don't want him to be the main villain of this series, but I do think we should involve him a little bit more than we did before.
Well, we absolutely have room to include him, especially since we've got a news segment coming up that's full of all the horrible stuff.
Right. Oh, yeah, that was another thing that I was going to say. Oh, how did I see this in my head? Oh, maybe it was. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Why do I need to mute my phone. This has never made sounds in its life. Okay. I was trying to figure out how to do the short, long kind of formatting if we are going to do it. And so I think it would be interesting. God damn, sometimes I do a thing where I go, I would like to discuss an idea, but I don't want to bring it up at all until it's on the podcast, because I want to present it as like this fresh new idea and flush it out that way rather than making notes. And then it comes time to mention it and I go, God damn, I really should have written it down. That's why we write things down. But
yep, that's why I write things down.
It was to bring the focus sort of maybe of the season, but at least of the episode to media in general. And so we were talking about starting it off with a bit in which the news, because we have so many pieces all over the place at this point. Anderson Coopist, and the thrust of the point of having Anderson Coopist was that he worked for a news agency which was unscrupulous. Was that the idea?
The news agency might be, but Coopist is full of integrity.
Right. That's what makes him a funny character, is that he works for a news which is sort of a lampoon, an exaggeration of journalism in the real world now, and it's sort of an exaggerated, ill-mannered, but ill-intentioned, mean-spirited. It's mean-spirited,
definitely unscrupulous.
Yeah, unscrupulous. It's crass. It's willing to cut corners, and there's a nonchalant sort of what's the word when somebody's kind of the news has. Yeah, I guess there's a nonchalance to the way that they're willing to. There's an expectation that everybody would. That's what the rules are there for, is to be broken, kind of thing. Morals are there to be
Oh, they're all jaded moral relativists,
Yeah.
dicks.
And so there's an industrial expectation that come on, this is what comes with the territory. Why are you in the news if you're not going to be unscrupulous like us? Like, they don't even cover it; they're just completely blatant about it. And so Anderson Coopist is like the most scrupulous guy,
Yeah, they think you're only as good as your last headline.
and so they bully him and all these types of things. He's like put upon. He's the nerd.
Yeah, he's a square,
He's a weeb.
little square Anderson.
And so I
Yes,
thought it
that's why he doesn't take part in the tragedy bingo game.
right. And so we were talking about the news playing a game of tragedy bingo. And so in your mind, how much time does the tragedy bingo take up? Like, how is it framed?
Like in the sketch or in the cast where we discuss it.
In the sketch.
Probably only a few minutes at most.
And so were you envisioning it as like the Tucker and Todd episode, season 2, episode 1 opens on the screen is the news?
I was thinking that if we wanted to do a cold open, it would be on Anderson Coopist reporting the scene that we left off with last episode.
Yeah, I like that. That is very television.
Yeah, because where we left off last episode is the studio was completely surrounded by media. There was a news helicopter flying nearby. They were playing the Noisemakers manifesto on the TV. And so it's probably an opportunity for us to be watching the news. Anderson Coopist is giving his latest report.
Okay. So he's giving his report on where we left off, and then he says, and now the real news or whatever. Is that what the kind of concept was? Does it go from there to the bingo game?
Yeah, I think the idea here is that he's kind of cut off mid-report, and he's handed a piece of paper. We just brand new breaking news has come in, and then he kind of has to set our report aside. We're no longer relevant. We've been set up.
Oh, okay. And then the report that he reads, the breaking news, is something tragic, and that's when somebody else in the studio yells, "That's an O!" or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And he
Right.
just that's his opportunity to kind of shake his head and put his face in his hands, and then the camera will shift over to where there's a bunch of other anchors, and now they're like going through their bingo cards, and that's when they get into they start doing the next news roll where they go through all the tragedies of the day.
Okay. Did you
So
have?
we've kind of left Anderson Coopist behind entirely,
Yeah,
and us, as it were.
for the time being.
Yes, for the time being. He was reading a report about our news, and then he gets cut off, and then somebody, that's an O. That was good, and then he's out of the frame. Frame is now on our tragedy bingo. So what is the O? What is the news that he came up with? What's the latest tragedy?
Is the shift from the cutaway is that the cameraman looks down at his bingo card to see how he's doing when
I
somebody
like
else
that
yells
even
up
the
their progress?
cameraman's in on it.
Yeah, everybody's in on it except Anderson.
Everybody except Anderson. I like that. What is the tragedy that comes up? I think it would be kind of funny if it was the human trafficking one. The human trafficking is funny.
No.
Not that people dying of the heat exhaustion inside of closed vehicles is funny. But
Well, so do we take things from the news, or do we take things from? I was going to say we have the free speech was the most recent Anderson Coopist concept we had.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about speech was ago. Well, no, you know what? That's not a throwaway joke. That's a whole concept to explore. Never mind. That said something.
I do think that what is funny is these characters in universe treating this tragedy as nothing significant and a throwaway concept in and of itself, and something to play a game over. That's funny.
I guess, yeah, that is true.
So the tragedy is terrible, and what's even worse is how these people react to it, and that the even worsening is what makes it funny.
Oh yeah, so he reads off the tragedy, and then one of the anchors does like a plucky or maybe even a pan face, but like a pun, you know?
Somebody's just like, "Woo!"
Oh no, yeah, there's one of those, but then also one of the news anchors, because I kind of want to make fun of the fact that in the most grave situations, an anchor will be sitting there looking seriously at the camera and doing some sort of like wordplay.
So it has to be a deadpan delivery.
Yeah, but so in your and my reality on the news, they would come away from a tragic story, and then the anchor would give like a little like rejoinder or a little like cap statement on the end of that to say, and that's why it really was a something something or something or other. And
Yeah.
so I'm thinking in this situation, it cuts to the anchor that says that is not on camera. He is knowingly mocking the people that he's saying that about behind their backs, and then one of the other guys is like, "Oh, that's good. Write that down," or something like that. Use that one next time, or something like that. They know that they're mocking the dead, but it's
These
off
people
camera.
are these people are horrible.
That's the point.
So is the human trafficking one the tragedy in particular that starts off tragedy bingo?
Yeah, I'm not. See, that's kind of now it's a slippery slope in my own brain of like, do we do a what's it called? Increasing in severity? Like, do we do three tragedies, and then how do you determine which is worse than the other?
I guess we will make sure that every single one of them is cranked up to 11 and so ridiculous that it's not at all like making fun of something real for a
But like,
start.
I mean, should it be the three that we discussed originally, like the abortion ban? Oh, goddamn! I had another thought. What was the abortion thing? Supreme Court. Oh, it was a whole other premise. I was thinking it would be interesting conspiratorially. Wouldn't it be kind of funny if there was like whatever the shadow government is, anytime that they want to do something shady, they call up the Supreme Court and say, we need a distraction, and the Supreme Court like bans another right or privilege or whatever you want to call it. Everybody gets up in
Oh,
arms, and then the government gets to sneak around in the background.
that sounds like a tie into the fantasy industrial complex.
Probably. Mm. Another shower thought I had. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Another shower thought. I'm trying to quit smoking again, so that's where we're at. Um, another shit. Oh, shower thought was that the industrial complex. Damn it. Oh, the orders. At some point, I don't know if it's in this episode, like sometime at some point in the next three, like the first three episodes of season 2, I do think there should be some allusion, especially since the facility that we're going to be visiting tonight was in response to the reset. I think that there should be some sort of visual reference to the God computer scenario that we peeked at twice already. That was in season 1. I think there should be a little some sort of visual reference to that God computer or that God computer space again. Maybe showing us choosing options like the Tucker and Todd.exe has run D&D.ini or whatever, just to show
Hmm.
that there is some sort of continuity between the seasons.
Yes,
That stuff is still going on.
it. We will definitely pepper it in there.
Okay, I think that was all of my thoughts. That took half an
Let's
hour.
see. Yes, tragedy bingo. Of course, Koopas can't take part. So, the two tragic events that we really discussed was the human trafficking and the mass shooting.
Hmm.
And really the mass shooting one was actually more about the response to shootings, which is that children are just being armed now instead.
Oh right, yeah, you were talking about the DMZ.
Yes, children pass through a DMZ on their way to school. Classrooms are now classified as an active combat zone. There's just on the news some kid that looks like Rambo is being interviewed on his way to school.
By the way, where's Kyle? Oh, he got held up down at the DMZ. You mean the DMV? He's 5. No, the DMZ. He was trying to get out of school.
They drew first blood. And so there's a kid in like a ghillie suit, and he's got a recurve bow, and he just killed somebody on his way to school.
So how is that? Okay, so how is this presented then as the news?
Yes, it's an interview. one of these children are being interviewed. He's dressed like Rambo. He's got war paint on. He's got the leafy.
Oh,
He's
and
got the
then
leafy part of a ghillie suit attached to him.
so he's outside like the razor wire or whatever being interviewed, and then you can see the camera gets distracted during the interview by something like hectic and awful going on in the background. A kid fucked up.
There's probably like a firefight.
Yeah.
It probably looks exactly like wartime reporting, really close to an actual combat zone.
Yeah.
You hear shots being fired, you hear an explosion, the camera can pan over, and there's a couple of kids shooting at each other. And
Oh, at
then
one point,
the kid being interviewed takes one of them out.
and then the interview is actually cut short by like a flashbang. Like it gets whited out, and there's just a ringing of the ears, and it goes back to the studio. Yes, well, that is truly tragic.
And it goes back, and now it's time for like a conservative pundit to start talking about how this is great
Oh
progress.
right, yeah, we definitely need that. Oh, are we gonna do the four like shouting over each other panel?
Oh yeah, I want one of those. There's got to be at least one person who is just like the one reasonable person who thinks that this is super disturbing and doesn't even know what to say, and then three people who can't wait to tell you how great it is, and they get into a fight about which one of them is right about how great it is.
I mean, is it a long drawn out thing of all of them giving opinions, and it's like actually that much of a considered joke, or are they just making like animal noises?
I think maybe one of them makes animal noises. You know, he's going full Alex Jones, and he's just red in the face and just. "Arrgh!"
Oh, that's kind of funny.
He's taken too many of his own supplements.
Yeah, he's
And
all
so
bloated.
that basically leaves just two commentators, and it's just this is bad and then this is good.
Oh, that's kind of funny if that's just what they're saying. One guy going, "No, this is clearly good," and the other guy, "This is I have 5 degrees that can tell you this is bad." They're just saying this is good, this is bad.
Yes, and then the guy who says this is bad gets shouted down by the guy who says it's good, because the guy who says it's good is a populist who doesn't believe in the elites, like people who have good learning. He calls an education fake news, and then that's when that particular section of the interview is terminated too, and it goes back to the anchors. And I think this is another one off of their bingo.
Do they make a wry statement about, or I guess they're not wry. They are not the straight men. But do they? Somebody makes a comment about how that really that really is progress. The needle.
Yeah, he just owned that libtard. Scratch that one off the bingo list. Oh, I got a bingo.
Libtard owned.
Yep, libtard owned. I got a bingo for that.
It looks at it. Yeah, it looks at his scorecard. And then the person who gets a bingo gets killed.
Yes, I think that's my favorite part. Is that they're so crazy that in fact winning is losing.
Who kills them, and how does it get? Like, how does it occur?
Well, see, the thing is this is dystopian America, where there are armed security guards literally on every square foot of the country. This guy just has to hold up his bingo card and say, "I got a bingo," and then he gets shot. And then the other anchors just kind of shuffle him off of this bigger long table that has multiple anchors on it.
There's got to be a better way to like emotionally and punchline pull off the person that commits the murder. Have we set up that
Oh,
there's?
the person who commits the murder would just be like a faceless guy in full combat gear.
Oh, so we've already established that those guys are all over. They're already the Imperial troopers all over the place.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
During the interview with them on the street, they're probably everywhere there too.
right. Okay.
And we probably see them, several of them, in the studio. I'll bet you the cameraman happens to be armed too. This is full dystopian America where everybody has a gun. Literally everybody. Children, adults, seniors, everybody, no matter their profession, they're armed.
I like the idea. If I don't know, I'm not sure how to pull off the joke, but now I'm imagining that that's literally the first line as it's still like fading in from black from Welcome to the Tucker and Todd Show. It's like that, "Ba-da-da-da-da," and the announcer voice of America, it's good now, and then it cuts to the scenes of like everybody.
We've made it great again.
Yeah. This is America, great.
Finally great again. New hats. Did you
We
ever
did it,
see
America.
Did you ever see that episode of The Root of All Evil that was gun control?
No.
Okay, well, when the panelist for the gun control as the root of all evil, he's he creates a scene, and in this scene, everybody is shooting at each other all the time. Like there's a family spat at the dinner table. People start shooting at each other
Yeah,
at the dinner table. Nobody gets hit, but they're like all of them pull guns on each other, and they're like, "This is what we talk about when we mean family values and sticking together for dinner and all that."
of course.
And then there's another scene where somebody throws a newspaper, just like newspaper delivery.
Yeah.
It lands close to a guy who happens to be standing out there, and the next person who comes by on a bike, he's like, "Did you throw that?" And he shoots him. It's just everybody responds to everything with guns.
It's a
No matter
logical
how
conclusion.
no matter how benign, everything gets responded to with lethal force. And that's the kind of shitty world that I'm imagining for this newscast. But what I want to think about
You disappeared. What you want to think
is
about
whether
is hello?
the person. Hello.
Something about holding up the bingo card?
Oh, hang on a sec. My speed just went down and back up. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. My ping went down and then up again.
Weird.
Very weird. Normally it's quite stable. Anyway, what I want to figure out is why the guy who has the bingo card got shot. Like, did he get shot just because he stood up and yelled loudly? Because in a really armed environment, that'll get you shot anyway. Or is he actually shot because that's the reward for winning bingo? And the game is the last person still alive is the real winner. American blood sport.
That's interesting. Now I'm pondering, like, do they have like an employee of the month wall that everybody glances at nervously?
Yeah,
Does everybody want to be martyred?
Nobody wants to die, but everybody keeps forgetting that winning bingo gets you killed. So they're always just generally excited about winning bingo.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it funnier if it's the prize? Because this whole time I have been envisioning that it's like that's just what logically occurs. You win, and then the response to somebody winning is they get shot, and that's funny because everybody deserves whatever they get in this hellscape. But also, would it also just be funnier if he made a big noise, and it spooked one of the Imperial Guard guys, and he's like, "Oh shit, sorry, I'm a little on edge." And he's like, "I'm trying to quit this week. Boy, did I pick the wrong day to quit sniffing glue."
I think one of these days we're gonna have it both ways, and that'll be the accidental shooting will come up, and that'll result in a ratings surge. And now they're deliberately shooting people because it's good for the ratings.
That's funny.
So that's how I think the bingo game gets implemented. Shooting anchors is just good for viewership numbers.
It's the meta for the week.
After all, in the American hellscape, the employees are expendable.
Of course.
And this is also that ultimate expression. They're just being sacrificed for ratings.
Okay.
So I guess we can kind of wring our hands about whether it's an accidental discharge or if it's fully been implemented that now the bingo game is just you getting murdered. Don't forget to fill in your bingo cards, employees.
Oh, I was trying to. I don't know. This is kind of a clunky joke, but this could be what the hands could be rung over or figured out when it comes to writing or whatever. But if rather than instead of bingo, you're trying to collect the letters abort, and then the guy collects all his letters and he jumps up and yells abort, and he gets shot, and the guy says, "Sorry, it's confusing. I'm still getting used to this."
Yeah, it's okay so long as they're a fully grown adult and born.
Yeah, okay. Now I'm trying to drag the abortion thing into it, but we've already got guns involved. So let me try to bring it back to guns because I'm trying to make a joke of he's obligated to shoot someone. He's like, "What? I'm supposed to," or whatever. If you have a gun and somebody makes a noise.
That actually, now that I'm thinking about it, an accidental discharge is going to result in a gunfight in this place, in this news studio.
Oh,
Suddenly the anchors draw their guns, and then everybody is shooting everybody.
Immediately draws guns, or do we give it a setup? So the guy wins bingo, gets shot, and then all of the anchors cheer. They're like, "Ah!" or they're laughing or whatever. And then the guard got him, goes, "Sorry, it was a mistake." And then they go, "What the fuck?" They all pull out their guns and shoot that guy.
It just occurred to me that this guy winning bingo and getting shot, that's on somebody's bingo card.
Oh yeah.
Somebody's like, "Oh, that one's in there. That's good. I got that one." And then yes, it was a mistake, and they're like, "Oh, you son of a bitch!" And then then the anchors draw their guns, and everybody starts shooting, and then it's probably that's time for the technical difficulty screen to come up, and then a few minutes later, everything is back, but like all of our anchors are disheveled, and there are gun hole or bullet holes in the walls everywhere, and they've got a new cameraman, etc.
Oh, once again, actually, yeah, I'm trying to put a joke on a joke on a joke. You got to tag every single one. So it erupts into the gunfight in the studio. All the anchors are shooting, and then it pulls out to the producer who's in like the production booth calling the shots, and he goes, "Oh, that's N down or whatever, N52. I've got a bingo," and then that's when he dies, and that's when it cuts away to technical difficulties.
I like that. Then he gets shot. Yeah,
Yeah.
his head fucking explodes like a melon, and an and an eyeball flies into the screen. Gratuitous
Gratuitous.
cartoon violence. Yeah, so that'll be the biggest direct shot, and then it's technical difficulties screen, and then it can eventually go back. It's only up for like 10 seconds. It plays really crappy elevator music, and then it's back on. The news is there, but everybody's like, this guy's tie is partially undone. His hair's a bit messy. His collar's come undone. Everybody's a bit of a mess. One of the anchors is suspiciously missing, and there are bullet holes in everything.
It's just like blood smears all over the wall.
Yeah, there's like fingernail scratches on the wall. There's probably like bloody teeth just like on the table. And now for more breaking news.
Or they come back and play it off like nothing just happened.
Yeah,
Right. So, anyways.
they do that whole arranging paper thing that people do.
Yeah.
Stack paper. Human trafficking roadblock 53 found dead from heat exposure. And then that's time for somebody else to declare a bingo, and then everybody rolls their eyes and sighs and pulls their guns out, and then that's when we can change the channel.
That's when it comes out of television screen, and Tucker and Todd have been watching the news.
Yeah, and they're just like, man, news is awesome.
Or yeah,
I guess why would they change the channel if it was just about to get exciting? But it's not. The anchors aren't having fun anymore. Now they find it tiresome.
Yeah, I'm thinking rather than them watching it, it's on in the background, and it's either on in the background in the scene. We catch up exactly where we were at the end of last season. They're looking at the news outside of the window, and they can make a reference to how much they hate the news, like because it's affecting them in two ways or whatever. Or if we're going to jump forward in time, they can be in their game shop and somebody's watching the news on a little TV in the background. Can you shut that off?
I was thinking that everybody would be playing D&D on the exact same table that they did the dad bod model on.
Right.
So it's an in-home game with the TV off to one side.
Yeah.
And it now occurs to me that Tucker and Todd would be totally into this particular news segment. And that when everybody sighs and draws their guns, like, here we go again, energy, that's when Straight Woman turns off the TV.
Oh, do Tucker and Todd have their own, they have their own homemade print-off bingo cards?
They're sitting there with their bingo cards.
They're
like,
holding
a
bingo card in one hand and a gun in the other. Just like all like that, like Mike Wazowski, my commercials coming on energy.
Yeah, I like that. Straight woman shuts that shit down. She turns off the TV and takes their guns away, and they're like, oh, come on.
Come on.
You're not even supposed to have a gun, Tucker. Remember the incident? Yeah. Shot Marvin in the face. But yes, I think this would be the one instance where we're watching the news and we're super into it.
Oh, that would be kind of funny, though. So she says, remember the incident. You look over at me and you go, that's why I'm not allowed to have a gun. I'm like, I know.
Todd's like, I know. This is probably an opportunity for Todd to have a flashback of like a super bloody backseat that he's cleaning.
Oh, just the fastest flashback, yeah.
Yeah, he just, like a little thought bubble. Everything else in the scene pauses. Then the thought bubble plays. It's just Todd in the back scooping up like a piece of skull with brains still in it, and the thought bubble pops, and then you see him just kind of shiver, and his beard gets all on end and prickly, and he's like, I know, I was there. The good mood is now ruined. And they're like, Forget about it, boys. It's time to play
It's your
despots
role.
and dictators.
Is it? So is it just the two then? We go from news story.
I think we can extend the news story pretty long.
Yeah, that's true. And then this one's going to be chunky as well. Okay, let's start moving into this and see what happens.
Yeah, this one goes around, and I mean, if we run out of steam on the D&D, then we can always bookend it with more news.
Right.
The news is just like a never-ending river of terrible shit that we can scoop
Oh,
up.
what if we somehow indirectly something we do in this episode gets Anderson Kupis fired from his TV anchor job, and he has to get a job as a paperboy.
Yeah. Oh,
He's still in the
oh
news.
no, oh no, our boy, he's our enemy now.
He's our enemy, but we have a season to save him and then work him into the rest of our canon as a good boy who's on our side.
Oh, I think that should also involve it should still involve all of the remains of some of the stuff that comes out of the facility.
Yeah, definitely.
So he gets like pulled into the bin with the rest of them, and then it's suddenly sugar and spice, and then
there you go. It's just
and
it's his duplicate. It's not even him. He doesn't have to get a job as a paperboy. His bad upside down guy is paperboy. I don't know.
oh, you think it should be his duplicate? I was perfectly okay with it being him, and then we have to kind of like get him out of there.
I kind of like that. Is kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it would be okay if we had him lose his job
Yeah.
and then get pulled into that dumpster with all of the anomalous monster bodies, and then it all gets fused into one with him as the really bitter core, and it's all about us.
Yeah. Does he lose his job because he refuses to do something absurd, or does he lose his job because he refuses to do something that journalists are expected to do these days? Like he won't shoot a guy. He won't get involved in the bingo. He never plays bingo. You never play bingo. You're fired.
Oh, yeah, I think hey, people get fired for not taking part in team building
Yeah,
exercises and
that's true.
shit like that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how the HR department would try and spin the bingo thing. It's a team building exercise. People get fired for refusing to take part in that stupid stuff all the time. And
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time before our Anderson Kupist gets told by one of the few surviving people that he's not a team player.
So yeah, does he become
But
like a paper
we
delivery
need
boy?
we need it to tie into us.
Yeah, I was gonna figure that out just right now. If he was a paper delivery boy, he could happen to be in the scope. But if he became a reporter for a shitty like independent um journal, like a little independent rag, like a local news kind of tabloid or whatever, and he's been sent to investigate either us because we were in the news or investigate this SCP facility. And so as he's snooping around, he gets drawn into the crossfire of the scenario that we create with our game.
Because our duplicates are there, so
Right.
they definitely get seen, and it would be easy to attach some resentment to us thanks to them.
Yeah.
Poor Anderson. He has to deliver a newspaper to this facility.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yep, he lost his job because he's not a team player. Now he has to deliver newspapers. He has to deliver one to this facility. He can't find the entrance he's trying to get in, and then somehow over the course of our game, doors will start opening, and he'll be able to get in and get lost.
Although I think I might have just worked in like another gag just to have him moving around, because you had a whole scenario in which Tucker is closing the blinds, and it appears as though he sees something, but he doesn't. Is that right?
Oh no, stuff has been let out of the facility and is causing chaos in the streets.
Oh,
There are
okay.
fires, there's looting, there's violence, there's lynching, and it's just noisy, and Tucker is closing the blinds and the window because it's distracting from the game.
Right, it's already a thing. I was gonna say it would be kind of funny if Anderson Kupist was like there watching through the window, and you think for a second that Tucker spotted him, but he's just distracted with whatever thought he had on his weak stool.
And there was a moment where he was like, "Wait a minute. Yeah, what is
Yeah,
it? Do we have any soda?"
I
Just
forgot to
something else
restock the
entirely.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, is there any Mountain Dew? Can I have a Mountain Dew?
You gotta have Mountain Dew
Oh,
with your D&D.
beer and pretzels D&D.
Oh, so yeah, if he's investigating, if he's delivering papers, and then he has to deliver papers to this facility, he's trying to find the right door.
Yeah, there. Every entrance seems to be locked. There doesn't seem to be a real designated front entry, but this is definitely the address. Probably
Is
this
it a
this guy's
situation?
this guy's gonna get his paper. I'm not fucking up on my first day.
Is it a situation where he goes scampering through like a window because he's so determined? He's Mr. Dudley Do Right. He's always Mr. Scruples. So he goes like looking for an entrance. They're gonna get their paper whether I'm gonna die to get them a paper or whatever. Or is it a
Yep.
situation where we're playing our game and we're doing all this reality bending stuff? A door just appears where there wasn't one before, and he's like, "Oh, well, that's convenient."
I was thinking more that there is a door, but it's locked. But as our game progresses, doors become unlocked and just kind of swing open.
Hmm.
But I think the best way for him to get into the facility in the first place is for him to jimmy a window or something, or somehow just like find his way in. And then once he's in the interior, he quickly gets lost. It's a maze of corridors and rooms and stuff. And he's trapped in this labyrinthine facility, and doors are starting to open as we're playing, and he's getting further in.
I like that. That's kind of fun.
So yeah, he gets in under his own steam, but then after that, he's basically at our mercy.
I also like the idea. Trying to
It'll
work
also
it
give
in.
him more time to interact with our duplicates, which will allow him to, hate them.
Oh, that's interesting too. So he stumbles upon our duplicates at some point?
Yeah, if he's in the facility, he's trapped in there with them.
Hey, you're the guys from that. What was the story again? Why were they in the news?
We were in the
Oh,
news
the
because the
noisemaker.
noisemaker did a triple homicide and named us in his manifesto.
I like how we've just moved on from that.
Well, yeah, we have because the news did.
Yeah.
It as soon as it was a 5 minute old story, there was a new tragedy coming in, and those bingo cards aren't going to fill themselves
Okay.
in.
We can reference that in the script where so like Tucker and Todd at one point are like they're just moving on from, or are we just moving on from the last season or whatever? And they're like, I don't know, the news did.
Yeah, even Anderson Kupis let it go. That would be one of those moments where when we mention his name, then we kind of do the dream blur transition back
Hmm.
into the facility where he is, so we can focus on him.
I love it.
But
Oh,
straight woman has pulled us away from the TV.
it would
What have
actually
you got?
it would be interesting. So, this isn't exactly what it is, but like in The Princess Bride, the grandfather is narrating the story. And as the audience, we've basically figured out that Wesley and the farm boy and the Dread Pirate Roberts are all kind of the same person, but Fred Savage, as the child being told the story, doesn't. But Grandpa's
Mm-hmm.
still calling him by one name or the other. It would be kind of cool if we playing D&D are describing some character. We don't know that we're describing, we're like, and then the handsome hero, etc., etc. And then the audience sees as we cut away dream sequence that the handsome hero we're describing is Anderson Kupis making his way clumsily through the thing.
Interesting. So just as we're kind of inserting characters into this D&D story, Anderson Kupis has sort of backwards inserted himself into our game.
Yeah, he sort of is like, yeah, grandfathered himself
Yeah,
or
I
whatever into the role of.
he is coincidentally in place on our board.
Yeah.
He doesn't know it, we don't know it. But straight DM is definitely doing all of the narrating for that.
Yeah, this is a character that she came up with, not knowing that Anderson Kupis was going to be in there.
Yeah, and just happens to suspiciously be in this character's position.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, and he's the hero, and we're playing the villains, which means, of course, we're going to be victimizing him this entire time.
Right, yeah.
He's going to hate us. Let's decide who's at the table.
Right. Okay, so I had proposed in the when we were playing D&D in the last whatever that game was.
Oh, right, our himbo astrologer.
Yeah, I proposed that he's one of our greased up friends.
Yeah, he's our surfer guy.
Was that Cold Case or number 3? One more thing. No, that was the coldest case.
Yeah, I think that was in the coldest case.
No. Yeah, that guy. I don't know. We don't have any
Is
friends.
Stan at the table?
I think
We have Columbo. We've hung out with Columbo.
Stan's in the room. I feel like when the first time we would have talked about this, we would have described Stan doing his like couch and magazine sort of thing.
The first time we did this, Stan was actually in blackface, and we couldn't decide what to do with it.
Classic.
Yeah, he was in drow face.
What? I'm a
But
black bear.
since we're playing despots and dictators and demagogues in brackets,
Yeah,
we also discussed Stan possibly being fearless leader.
I kind of like
Since
that.
Tucker and Todd are Boris and Natasha.
Oh, that's interesting. Stan is fearless leader, but it would also be kind of funny if Stan is the bear that Puddin rides on.
Oh, I like that. That means Columbo is going to be playing Puddin.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Yeah, okay. I like that. Stan is the bear. That's perfect. And I was also thinking our Fargo cops could be in there as milquetoast villains.
I like that.
All their best attempts at villainy are just like really low impact. Like I littered a little bit. Oh, now I feel bad. I better pick that up.
Little minor inconveniences and thoughtlessnesses.
Yeah, and they still feel bad about it, and they're like wringing their hands about it minutes later,
You know I didn't mean it, bud.
or like profusely apologizing for their terrible wrongdoings.
I'm sorry. That was too far. I'm sorry. That was over the line.
All he did was stand slightly in somebody's way in a hallway, in a corridor, and didn't immediately step out of the way.
Or it's that joke. This has been like memed in TikTok so many times, but it's like the Canadian stereotype of holding a door open when somebody's still like 40 meters away or whatever. But in this case, like he goes through the door and the person's 40 meters away, but then he comes back as they're approaching and is like, you know what, that I fucked up, I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, he didn't hold the door open, and then he changes his
And then he
mind
changes his
within
mind.
10 meters.
Yeah, he corrects for it. Yeah,
There, yeah, the scene can go back and forth. Like there's him standing there with the door shut. He's on the inside, and he's kind of watching this person approach with trepidation. It's going to go back and forth. The picture is back to the other person walking up. They're still a good long ways away from the door, way farther away than it would need to be held open for, way past any reasonable expectation of courtesy to hold it. He's still standing there, and as the other person gets close enough, he holds it open. He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't do this sooner."
yeah, you're right. You're right. That's on me.
And the person entering the door is very confused.
He's perplexed. Yeah,
Okay, so everybody at the table is also in costume.
of course.
I was
That's how we
thinking about
do it.
that because during the dad bod bit, we kind of established that Tucker and Todd weren't really into the role playing. But I was thinking that now that they've actually made a character and got done all that, now they're super into it.
They're hardcore into it. Yeah, they've got a
Yeah,
stack
so
of game books.
yeah, and they've got like two really filled out character sheets. They're not even playing one character this time. They're each playing their own.
That's funny.
And they're in costume. They're in character at the table. Straight DM is going to be really proud until they take their role as villains way too seriously and start stealing people's snacks at the table and like being dicks.
When straight DM comments on it, Todd looks the camera and does a wink nudge, and he's like, "That's character development."
Yeah, you guys weren't into it before, but now you are, and I think that's great. And yeah, they're like, yeah, character development. It's like we're progressing and learning
Well,
by now being into something that we didn't care about yesterday.
we have been doing this long enough that we've made mistakes to learn from.
Yes. So yeah, they're probably the most into it at the table. They are probably the only ones who stay perfectly in character all the time once they begin. As are they already in costume when they're watching the news?
Who? The boys?
Tucker and Todd, because they basically get dragged away from the TV to the table to get started on D&D night.
I kind of like that. If they're already in their costumes, that could even be the line as like straight DM comes into the room with her little kit of dice tubes or whatever, to be like, "You guys have been in costume for the past 3 hours," and we're like, "We just can't wait to play."
Although they were really reluctant to stop watching the news.
Mm-hmm. Right, they have to be peeled away.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing watching the news anyway? It's D&D night. And they're like, oh yeah, I forgot. You forgot, but you've been dressed up like this all night.
Oh,
What?
has it
Dressed up
not?
like what?
Have we had close-ups until then? We haven't been seen that we're in costume. You forgot. You've been dressed up since 11 a.m. It zooms out. We're in costume.
Dressed up like what?
I'm not playing this game. What game are you playing? That's right. We're playing D&D.
What do you mean? This is just what I wear. That one's easier for Tucker to pull off than Todd. Todd's in a dress.
It's an easy
And
dress.
even after Straight DM takes away their guns, they still have more guns.
Like just where the gun was.
Yeah.
I mean, that would probably work as a funny camera trick. I constantly have identical, like duplicate objects dropped on top of each other, and I don't really recognize they're there. But that would be a good, kind of a funny joke for someone to be holding a gun. Straight DM takes it out of their hand, and there's still just a gun in the hand.
How'd you do that?
It's mandated.
Yeah, it's the law.
You can't take my gun away.
It's the law. I'm compelled to have one by law. So we just start handing them out at the table. You will all need these. Don't forget your bingo cards.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, we're playing tragedy bingo at the table. I think that means we need somebody who's expendable.
We're playing tragedy bingo while we play D&D.
Yeah. I think with our guns, everybody gets a bingo card. It's kind of like the Purge, but it's every day. These are your government issued tragedy bingo cards.
Does anybody protest? Everybody's just into it.
I think Straight DM would protest. We probably should back that up and just leave the bingo cards to the news anchors because it boosts their ratings. But I think that it's mandated by law. Gun thing is too funny not to have.
Oh, and I mean, it could be a gag where she goes, "What are you doing?" And we're like, "We're passing out bingo cards," and she says, "Bingo cards," and we're like, "Yeah." We hold out the box. It's the board. It's the licensed board game version of Tragedy Bingo. Play at home.
We buy into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That news studio starts selling them and we buy into it. That's hilarious. After all, we were playing with our own bingo cards while we were watching.
Yeah, our little hand sketch bingo cards.
Yeah, and so we were gonna hand them out, but she definitely kiboshes that entire thing.
One game at a time.
Yeah, and never this one. Okay, so we've got Stan, we've got Columbo, we've got our himbo astrologer, we've got Fargo cops, and
I was
and
just
of
trying to
course
figure out a
Tucker and
line.
Todd.
What are the rules for game night? We can play any game as long as they don't encourage senseless violence.
So not D&D then.
Oh yeah. Well, does it encourage senseless violence?
Yeah, it basically mandates it.
Dang.
That's where the term murder hobo comes from.
Murder hobo.
Yeah, that's basically what D&D characters are, is murder hobos. They don't have homes, they don't have real jobs, they just go from place to place, killing and looting everything they find. Somewhere I have a D&D flowchart that is just like, it's a people, try talking to it. It's a monster, kill it to death.
Yeah. The game is called The Illusion of Choice.
Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
I googled D&D flowchart and these are just not what I was looking for. Some of these are actually reasonable and really comprehensive.
You found actual useful information?
Yeah. And that's not what I was looking for.
I was looking for jokes.
Yeah, I was looking for the meme version of it. Oh, this is out of control. Moving on.
Yeah, you're getting the light.
I'm getting the light.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like if you're a comic and you've been on stage for too long, they'll flash the light to say your time's up.
Oh, right. Makes sense. I need that.
As you're floundering out there looking for D&D sheets.
Yep.
Where were we?
We were just establishing the cast that happens to be at the table.
Right. I think we have. Do we need additional characters in there?
No, I don't think so, but I think we should decide what kind of villain our himbo astrologer is going to be. Because it's going to have the same energy as him, because he can't roleplay. He can just be his surfer dude self.
That's kind of interesting.
So just like a SoCal version of a villain.
Oh, is he a what's that guy with the shitty hair and the Aikido? Steven Seagal? Is he like a Steven Seagal character?
I've been wanting to include a Steven Seagal character for a while. I was just thinking about that the other day. I think I blame Cumtown. But yes, I want him to do a Steven Seagal.
Just like
His character is just Steven Seagal.
just ineffectual guy.
Yes. Just generally ineffectual, not very good at anything, overweight,
but just
too
confident
old.
in himself, yeah.
Yeah, and incredibly self-confident. He can barely speak anymore. He just kind of talks in like low mumbles. Awesome.
And so he's playing kind of a what's his name from Apocalypse Now? People call him the greatest actor, one of the greatest actors. I can't do names. But like yeah, like the general the disenfranchised general who's gone and shacked up in the jungle.
Yes.
Oh, murder hobo flowchart.
It's all about killing stuff and taking stuff. That is 90% of D&D.
That's the game.
Yeah, so it absolutely encourages violence, and it encourages violence along racial lines.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean that in that case it could be a joke then. Stop playing that game which encourages senseless violence and come play.
Come
game.
play dictators and despots.
Yeah.
Despots and dictators. And demagogues.
She describes, she's like, stop playing a game, and she describes where you do this thing, that thing, and the other, and come play a game where you do this thing, that thing, that thing, and this thing, and that thing, and it's like an explicit description of something that is encouraging violence.
And what's rule 7 of game night? Don't call out the fallacies.
Oh, it's postmodern game night. You can call out problems with the game on Tuesdays.
And what day is it?
Thursday. It's not a day. Time is relative.
It's evening.
Oh, it's an actually.
It is Thursday. Anyways,
it's
moving
1 a.m. It's not night, it's morning.
Oh, those people. It's morning after I sleep and not a minute before.
Yeah, because I'm mourning that I'm still alive.
Okay, so everybody is now sitting down. We're gathered. Straight DM has convinced us that we have to at least put our guns away since she can't take them away. So they're stashed wherever they go. And now everybody is getting their characters and everything assembled. And now it's time for Straight DM to begin her monologue. And that will be how we introduce the brave hero who happens to be the center point of this little story and whom everybody is supposed to basically victimize. Because the hero in this story is also the antagonist.
Yeah.
And our merry band of villain protagonists are going to have to screw with them. But as Straight DM is monologuing, that's when we can do the dream fade to Anderson Cooper busting into the facility.
Is the dream fade to him busting into the facility, or is it to him being fired? Have we shown all that already?
Oh, yeah, interesting. Maybe we need to back it up a little bit, but I guess no, we can definitely proceed. She just monologues with this hero being down on his luck.
Okay.
That's where her story starts, is him losing favor with the local lord. He was a knight. He was a knight, and now he's been stripped of title. He's no longer in favor, and so now he wanders. So we've got our nomadic hero antagonist, and then we can dream fade to him losing his job and walking the streets.
Is her terminology, I guess, in that case, instead of like a knight or whatever, would she say like an agent or whatever?
Yeah, I suppose, since we're not doing D&D proper, we're doing kind of Cold War era villainy, then he's gonna have to be some kind of agent or spy. He's lost favor with his government, and now he's being given his walking papers. He's lucky to be left alive. Nobody retires in this business.
My cartoon brain shot to the paper, like it's like in Airplane when they say, can I get a ticket to wherever, and she says smoking or non, and he says smoking, and she hands him a smoking ticket. This is like, they says we're giving you your walking papers, and he's like, not my walking papers, and it's literally paper that walks, and he's like, you're lucky it's not your killing papers or something like that.
You're lucky they're not running papers, or you'd have a
Yeah.
hard time catching them.
And Anderson is like, this is getting absurd.
This is stupid. Oh yeah, well you should see the running papers, and then there's somebody outside chasing them,
That's funny.
running around in a circle. Eventually, you're getting exhausted, falling over. Now get out of here.
Don't
Fine.
make me. Now make like you're walking papers and get out of here.
And fuck off.
Yeah, and fuck off. I like that.
Now make like you're walking papers and fuck off.
And there's like, jeez, gosh.
Yeah, he's just, gosh, taken aback. He leaves, of course, like a tree.
Yeah.
So there he is wandering the streets. It's probably time for it to rain, and possibly also time for a bit of the noir energy to kick in. And then as he's walking around, straight DM voices over it. So it goes black and white. We've got the moody rain. She's probably doing straight detective voice monologue now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Anytime she monologues.
Yeah, except when she's Galadriel.
Oh yeah.
But now she's doing, spy thriller, which is just noir with a different coat of paint.
True.
So yes, and then he finds a job delivering papers. There's just a little advertisement for it, and he's like, whatever.
He loves the news.
He does. Inherently, he just loves the news, and at least this lets him still be connected to it somehow. First few papers are delivered without issue. Maybe is he riding a bike or something? Sells his car to buy a bike and a bunch of newspapers.
I mean, that's great.
And then eventually he gets to the facility and he can't find his way in. And I guess this is probably where straight DM stops monologuing and the scene just proceeds. Because we don't need to listen to her describe it forever. We can just watch it and let visual storytelling do its thing.
Yeah, and also I like the bike a lot. And in fact, if it has a wagon being towed behind it full of the papers, even better.
And it's got that little bell on it. Jing, jing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely a scene where he's got his car and he's looking at it, and then he's looking over at the bike, and it smash cuts to him on the bike hauling a wagon of newspapers. But he's jimmied his way into this facility because he's not having it. These guys are going to get this newspaper. He's not going to fuck up on his first day.
And so this whole introduction sequence, because it's being narrated, that monologue is her like setting up the scenario that we're going to be playing in.
Yes, we're already inside the facility. This is our base of our villainous base. This good guy has now infiltrated it.
And we have to stop him. Is that kind of what we're doing?
We have to amuse ourselves with him because we're villains and we have no clear objective besides doing the villainy.
Right.
We're that kind of villain. We're not the objective-oriented kind. We're just like, see good guy, do bad things to good guy. Call it a day. Meanwhile, poor Anderson Kupis is just trying to find, like, the front desk so we can deliver this newspaper.
And so how quickly... So just to establish something, when Tucker and Todd make moves in the game, does it have a causal link to... I can't remember. Does it have a causal link to what is occurring within the facility, or is it coincidence?
It's definitely a causal link. It was
okay.
Like if the characters on the game opened a door in their little dungeon area, it caused one of the doors inside the facility to open up.
Right.
The difference being that a lot of the rooms in our little tabletop version of this room, they don't have anything in them, but in the facility those rooms are occupied.
So at any point, but the narration from the DM, at any point does he find himself being like jerked around like voodoo doll style, like being puppeted, or
no, it goes the other way around.
Okay.
So as he moves, she describes his movements.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I like that better.
So yeah, he's the only free agent.
Yeah.
Everything else in there is being puppeted. He's like some kind of like weird feedback thing where the stuff he does then gets narrated.
Sure. Okay, that's cool.
And we can also break the fourth wall at some point and just be like, have him ask, why are you just narrating everything I'm doing? But then he's no longer, then he's no longer like in peril.
No.
He's become aware of the situation, and that's less engaging.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, he like does a maneuver, and then straight DM will just be like, and so our hero does this. Basically, she's catching up with him while everything else in there is catching up with our player actions.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And so
I also
if
it just occurred to me that it's because of our stupid Fargo cops that he got into the building in the first place. They
okay,
held the door open for him.
they let him in, I like that.
That's the scene where they do the door
That's
thing.
funny.
They can't do the villain thing, so they let the hero in.
Well, I'm not just
And
gonna
then
let this guy stand out here.
I don't know where the front desk is, but I'm not going to leave him outside. So yes, they let him in, and then that's probably they're going to catch flack for that at the table. They get made fun of.
But they're good natured about it.
They are good natured about everything.
So if Columbo is playing Puddin, and we are also some sort of villains, so is Puddin
All right, I
is
guess
he
we're playing
Supreme Leader?
Russian. Yeah, we're playing Russian agents.
Yeah.
So I guess we're working for Columbo. And I have to wonder if Columbo is aware of kind of what's going on.
Oh, this is interesting then. So I was trying to figure out is Columbo playing Puddin because we were saying he rides a bear, and we were also talking earlier about did we create Puddin with the game? But that would be kind of interesting if Supreme Leader in the game became Puddin, the leader in the real world.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too.
Yeah.
We're responsible for the creation of multiple horrors.
Potentially all of the horrors.
Yes, but I'm also thinking that maybe Columbo is kind of vaguely aware of this sort of this like cosmic causal connection that's occurring in this facility, and he's kind of steering events.
Oh, was he not part of the game until he noticed that we had the link to the facility, and so he joins in to like kind of just keep a tab on what's happening?
Well, he as supreme leader, he's not just keeping a tab; he is directing things.
Yeah, you're right.
Which I mean, if he shows up after he discovers what's going on, that's all the more reason for him to take the leadership position.
Oh, especially if it's one of those scenes where that's kind of funny. If straight the DM was about to announce who would be playing the leader position, and then he strolls in like, nope, I will be that, and Tucker's like, God damn it, I was finally going to be leader.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. And she's not going to say no to Columbo
No, she's a fan.
because we've already established that she'd kiss his ass, which is perfect because that means he can just walk right in and take that spot, and it makes perfect narrative sense.
Yeah. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, so I think everybody's getting set up at the table. She's basically handing out roles, and then she will say, "All right, we've got a sheet for supreme leader. Who's going to take that one?" And then that's Columbo. He just walks in and he's like, "I'll have it."
Oh, maybe
I guess he's got Stan with him.
Todd wanted to be supreme leader, but because he doesn't get to be, he has to wear the dress again.
Columbo's like, "Sorry, kid. Looks like you're in the dress again." Oh,
Why can't Tucker wear it? He literally swims in it.
it's too big for him. He needs to be in the short pants.
You fill it out perfect.
Yeah, then Todd gets bashful.
Aw, jeez. Yeah.
Tucker elbows him. He's like, "You fill it out perfectly."
Like, oh, well, if you say so.
Gross. Then his beard twitches and stuff.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's like the genie nose twitch. Twinkle, twinkle. Okay, so everybody's now at the table. They're settling into their roles. Right. For a minute I forgot that we've got Steven Seagal. His job is basically going to be serving as a foil for Team Evil.
Yeah.
But I mean, our Fargo cops are already foiling us. They let the hero into the facility.
It is mostly foil the game.
Yeah. But at the same time, that was necessary for the plot. So I'm going to assume straight DM actually accounted for that and counted on it.
Yeah, she's into it. Sorry, I walked away
Well,
first. She's into it.
She needed him to get into the building, and they were the best way to do it.
Yeah.
But now Columbo's in position to kind of direct Team Evil's efforts to make sure that we don't actually kill Anderson Coopist for a start.
At the very least.
Yeah. He's okay with shenanigans and us running amok and letting everything in that facility out to also cause chaos. Because not everything in there winds up getting exterminated.
Right.
Some of those things wind up walking the streets and just causing chaos. Okay, so Koopist has been let into the building. I suppose after Koopist gets into the building, that's our opportunity for us to go back to the table as everybody there starts like taking the piss out of the Fargo cops for letting him in.
Yeah, they really fumbled. They let the goal in.
Because before that, the focus was all on Koopist, and then you've got the facility with the doors swinging open now, thanks to our Fargo cops. And yes, that's when you record skip, and then everybody at the table's like, "Oh, come on, you just let him in." They're like, well, we couldn't just leave him out there, and then you get your Fargo cop explanation. Straight DM is like, it's fine, keep playing, get back in character, and then we can get back into the scene. Whose perspective do we sit at? Do we sit at like Supreme Leaders, or do we go back to Koopist?
Where were we before?
We were on Koopist getting into the front entry. The Fargo cops let him in, and then we immediately smash cut back to the table as everybody complained about the Fargo cops letting him in.
Yeah, if we haven't had a scene yet that's kind of like a longer establishing shot, kind of getting cozier with the characters we're role playing, like Supreme Leader and all them as characters, or as
I think I've got it.
Okay.
The scene will fade back in on Koopist, but it's watching him through a security camera.
Oh, I like that. The
And then
crystal ball thing.
then it backs out, and there's Supreme Leader in like a surveillance room, petting a bear in his lap.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then he sends Boris and Natasha to go and intercept Koopist before he gets into the wrong hallway.
Natasha awkwardly like adjusting his panty line.
Jesus.
I never get used to this thing.
Why didn't you just wear shorts? They show, man.
You said I fill this out.
Todd's got butt floss. Why'd you wear a garter? Why are you in nylons? Why are you wearing all of this? I wanted to play the part.
Your ass looks like the inside of a wig.
God. Shut up and let's go.
Yeah, we got work to do.
And I suppose, yes, Columbo will probably remain within this little nerve center at least for a while. That's how those doors open. He's got access to all the buttons.
Right. Okay,
So he's in the command center. He can open the doors. They're not just swinging open on their own. He's opening them.
Oh, so every now and then he's doing that thing where he's like whistling and looking over his shoulder, pretending he didn't see that he's just hit the button.
Oh yeah, he's having fun.
Yeah.
He's amusing himself. But there goes Boris and Natasha to try and intercept Anderson Koopist as he's bringing his newspaper in. So he's already crossed the first obstacle, which was just getting in the door and getting past the Fargo cops who would do nothing against him. Now he's going to have to deal with Boris and Natasha. Natasha. Yeah, I can't think of anything for Tucker to be Boris. But Natasha is great.
That's pretty good.
Yep, that might be top tier. That'll probably be the best thing I've ever come up with. I can probably retire now.
Natasha Katsamov.
Yeah, I'm never going to do anything better than that.
That goes on your tombstone.
Yeah, what a weird place to reach my high point.
What a strange peak.
At least it's better than the ass in the wig.
Yeah.
I suppose Todd is going to be like shifting uncomfortably as they walk through the hallway. How well can Todd handle heels?
That's funny. He's a star. You had pointed out that one animation with the swaying hips. I think it's time for that thing to come in.
Right. That wide catwalk sachet.
Yeah.
Yes, the femme fatale. He's dressed for it. He's playing the right character for it.
Okay, so do we encounter Anderson Koopist then?
I was actually of two minds about that. On one, I was thinking we encounter him and he just kind of bamboozles us, or hits us with a newspaper. And
I don't know that.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's basically how we try to stop people is you must answer me these questions 3. Or we can't find him because we're fucking lost. We made this dungeon a little too
Oh, that's
complicated.
kind of funny.
We're like Tucker's the map man, and he like flips it up. Oh, the map was upside down, and then that's when they realize they're actually standing on the ceiling and fall down.
But we don't want to ask the either our supreme leader or our dungeon master. We don't want to ask for
No,
advice. Reveal
you
that we've
don't.
made mistakes.
You don't ask the supreme leader for anything, and you never admit to a mistake.
No.
That's how you get put in the shaft. But yeah, so maybe we were walking down one of these endless maze-like corridors. We've got the map. Todd points out that this guy should be here. Why isn't he here?
Yeah,
And
it
then
says it's supposed to be right here.
there's Tucker with his face in the map, and he's like, "Oh, I've been holding it upside down." And then the entire perspective of the camera frame shifts so that they're upside down now. And yeah, it's revealed that they've been walking on the ceiling too, so now they fall down. They only respect gravity when they're aware of it.
That's my policy for my father. No, that's not. That doesn't work. That's not even how it works.
Nice. So I kind of like the idea that they get lost, and also that they walk on the ceiling just because they were looking at a map upside down.
Yeah.
They fall down. What do they do there?
Oh, like
Besides say,
it's like
ouch.
an Inception sort of thing.
Yes. As Tucker flips the map, the screen rotates at the exact same rate and angle,
That's
so that
cool.
when he fully flips it over so that it's right side up, they are now revealed to be standing at the top of the frame on the ceiling, and they're like, "Oh." And then it's only when they realize, because we're using cartoon physics. So it's at the moment that they notice that they're standing up there that they fall down. And this is probably an opportunity for like the director of Avengers
Of
of
Avengers.
Firefly.
Oh, Joss Whedon.
This is time. Yes, Joss Whedon humorless. Joss Whedon humor where two people fall and one of them is a woman. The man always has to land face first in her boobs.
Oh yeah.
Joss Whedon always does that, and I think this is an opportunity for Tucker to land face first in Todd's chest.
I was trying to get as I'm not seeing a GIF for it, but I was trying to grab when the Grinch lands in Martha May
Oh,
Hoovier's
Martha?
cleavage. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that one.
Martha May Hoovier.
Yep, but the scene that Joss Whedon is known for in the Avengers 2 is when Bruce Banner falls right into Black Widow's cleavage during the very first fight in the film.
I don't remember, but I take your word for it. That sounds very Joss Whedon-y.
Yeah, he does that.
His humor stayed in 2003.
Yeah, it's right where we left it, way back there.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the entire GIF, but that's when he pulls his face out of him.
Don't turn green, honey, because she would be crushed, right? But then she falls in love with that green D.
Well, she was already super into him at that point.
Yeah.
But I assumed that she didn't want him to turn green because then he would flip out and probably kill everybody there.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
Not everybody there can withstand getting punched by the Hulk. I think that's just Thor.
Yeah, yeah. There's
This was at the very beginning. Nobody was in their super suits or any of that. It was just Thor.
a thin line between super and invincible.
Yeah, and in a case where Banner starts hulking out in this penthouse, everybody around him is very vincible, and he doesn't pull his punches.
I don't remember at all. Is this from the first one or from the second one?
No, that's from the second one. That's from when Ultron first reveals himself, and they're all fighting in the bar in Tony's penthouse.
Yeah, I don't really. I saw the movie once and it didn't stick with me.
And she's very justifiably afraid of the Hulk because he very nearly pasted her in the first film.
All I remember is him pasting Loki.
Yeah, and he very nearly did the same to her. Yeah, here we go.
Sun's going down, big guy. Sun's getting real low, Daddy.
That's disgusting. Okay. So
That's now. I
Tucker's.
wasn't trying to be disgusting, but now it's like sun's getting low, stepbrother.
Well, now it's awesome.
Oh my
Forget about
God,
it.
sun's getting
Forget
low,
about it.
stepbrother. Yeah.
Stepson's getting real low.
Oh, my stepson's getting real low. Get low, 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 low. Yeah.
Stepson's going down.
Gross.
Oh, so now it's gone back to disgust.
Yeah, that's awful that it is like an Avengers porn parody. Stepson's going down.
He's getting real low.
Oh my God.
Okay. So Tucker pulls his face out of Todd's fake boobs.
Yeah.
Ugh, what are you keeping there, bricks?
Did you actually commit to a surgery?
they're very firm. He's like, well, yeah, they're sandbags.
Yeah, that's not supposed to feel like that.
Yeah, Todd did the old-fashioned way that you see in Wild Wild West, where he's got a couple of balloons filled with sand.
Yeah.
You remember that scene in that film?
I don't, but I remember 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Okay, well, in Wild Wild West,
Oh, I never
Smith,
saw Wild Wild West. Wow.
Oh, yeah, Will Smith. Will Smith is dealing with a guy who is masquerading in disguise as a woman, and he finds out that the fake bosom is actually just a couple of like rubber balloons filled with sand, and he's like, "Ugh, these are horrible." So he dumps the sand out, fills them with water, and he's like, "This is what actual boobs are like." But I think it would be really funny if Todd's just got a couple of like rubber sandbags.
Yeah, something awful
And they hurt Tucker's face. Something that's supposed to provide reasonable cushion is now like knocked out a tooth.
Oh, Todd has spiky chest hair.
That's awesome. I never thought about that before now, but now I need that to happen.
It's like his beard.
Yeah, and it twitches in the same way, which is horrifying to think about.
Yeah.
And the more horrifying it is, the funnier it is. But they pick themselves up, reorient themselves based on the map, and then proceed. And that's our opportunity to fade to either another minion somewhere, back to Supreme Leader, or back to the table. Or I guess just Anderson Kupis, because he's no longer in the spot where we were supposed to intercept him. He's still moving.
Right.
Wandering these endless halls, looking for a front desk or some place where he can leave this newspaper.
Yeah, I guess maybe we can go back to the table briefly just to do a reset, and we can go back into DM narrating, and then the narration can bring us back to him.
Yes, the narrator will bring us back to him. So we back out. What's happening at the table? Did Tucker steal somebody's snacks or something?
Oh, I thought it would be kind of like, no, like Todd's clothes are all like it's some sort of reference to the awkward Joss Whedon humor moment that we just had, like his clothes are all upset or knocked about or something like that.
Oh, and Tucker's got like a black eye from falling face first into sandbag boobs.
Yeah.
Stuff that's happening in the game is translate. That's how seriously they're taking the role playing.
Mm-hmm.
They're becoming really injured. So yeah, Todd's dress is a bit of a mess. His spiky chest hair is poking out. Tucker's got a black eye and he's all kind of scuffed.
Oh, I guess, is this when we do the... Oh, no, I was going to say that comes later. Since we're coming out to the moment, is this when we do the blinds gag? But we
have to set stuff free first.
Yeah.
I was thinking that would be a great thing to do, but you're right. There's nothing to see out there. But maybe this is the opportunity to open the blinds.
I thought I heard
so that we can like cast some attention onto the window so that everybody knows that the blinds are open and the window's open, so that we can then later go and close them.
That they're in play now.
Yes.
Yeah.
That way when we play with it again later, it's actually a callback.
Chekhov's window.
Exactly. So maybe they decide it's a bit warm in here after getting a face full of sand boob. Tucker tugs on his shirt collar, wanders over, has to wander back to grab his stool.
That's kind of funny. If we cut away from the awkward encounter with the boobs and whatever, if it cuts back to the table and Tucker's like, is anybody else getting hot? It's pretty funny.
Kind of warm in here. Oh, these two have some unresolved shit. From Honey, I'm Home to this.
Yeah, Todd is fully like laid out, reclined in the chair. He's like fanning himself with like a dishcloth or something old fashioned.
He's got a handkerchief, and
Yeah.
it's just a lady's handkerchief.
All of a sudden, he has like a southern drawl as well. Now that you mention it, it is kind of warm.
Channeling Miranda.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, we
That's
got 12
very
minutes.
funny.
We got 12 minutes to make this happen.
Oh yeah, I told you we'd be able to drag it out.
It's chonky, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Anderson Coopist, yes. Now that the window's open, we're back into the table. Straight DM is now monologuing once again. So we're dream fading back into Anderson Coopist's perspective. He's now moving. He's power walking, which is the most efficient form of movement, if you ask him.
He has
Yeah, he's one of
opinions
those
on it.
people. Yeah, he's one of those people. So he's power walking. He's moving through these hallways, and this is when we again see him through a security camera, and we just hear, Columbo's chuckle, his supreme leader chuckle, and then he just runs his hand over the buttons, and you hear the alarm, and then all these doors start unlocking their maglocks, ka-chunk, 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 all in a hallway, all in a line down the hall.
Yeah.
And they all swing open, and Anderson Kupis is like, stops, and then he starts power walking down a different corridor.
So just checking in because fuck, I already forgot his name. Supreme Leader did that move. Does that mean Columbo announced to the room at the table that he was performing that action, and so everybody knows that this action has been performed, or is he doing that secretly?
I suppose he announces it to the table, but since nobody's character knows that, because that would be metagaming.
Right.
So the players know it, but the characters don't, which means the active personas that are in the facility aren't aware.
Right, okay.
And since everybody's taken the role play seriously, nobody's metagaming.
And is it sort of similar to the same way? So when Columbo messed with us during the Halloween special and kind of like got us all to go investigate the wrong crime or whatever, to like mess up the crime scenes, could this be a similar thing where he's like, I need you, there's been a breach, we need you boys to go cell to cell and like clear them all out, make sure there's nothing in there that's not supposed to be, and so we start going around helping opening doors.
He's gonna have us help to open doors, or is he gonna send us on a wild goose chase so we don't interfere? He could tell us over the intercom in a specific hallway, be like, boys, there's test subjects have been set loose in such and such an area.
Remind me, did we have a reason for why he would be doing that? What's his motivation?
Why Columbo would be setting this stuff free?
Yeah.
Well, for a start, he's an outside creature, and these are outside creatures in captivity. Maybe
he's
he just has a general, maybe he has just a general concern for their welfare, or more likely, this is going to cause chaos, and he kind of has a boner for that.
Sure. Yeah, I guess so. Chaos in general, and then if we ever are not quite sure what Columbo's motivation is or why, we can always lean back on he's going against whatever obscure plan his boss had made.
That interdimensional mafia guy back at the marketing agency.
Was there a name for the marketing agency? Everything goes in and out of my brain.
The butterfly effect.
Yeah, the butterfly. It's just called the butterfly effect. Yeah.
So after doing the primers for these things, a lot of them are now permanently baked into my mind.
Yeah, you're the master of them.
Because I've listened to them like 11 times a piece, and then that it's gone into my brain and then translated back into text written down.
Now it's part of your like core language center is built on the lore of Tucker and Todd.
Yeah, it's just in there with all of my thoughts, just permanently ingrained.
Yeah, but I like that if it's a wild goose chase that he sends us on.
Yes, because I think Columbo knows that everything we get involved in, we screw up. So unless he wants us to deliberately screw something up, he sends us in the other direction.
This could also
which he's done before.
Yeah. This could set us up for a really intriguing like emotional beat like way down the road. Are you a Rick and Morty enjoyer?
I am a Rick and Morty enjoyer.
So you've seen the whole second season?
I don't know if I've seen the whole any season, but I have seen a large number of episodes.
But you would have seen maybe the end of season 2 when Rick realizes that he kind of has to sacrifice his autonomy in order to save his family, even though he's spent his entire time talking about how unimportant his family is to him.
Yes.
I found that very emotional. I cried at the end of Rick and Morty season 2 the first time. But I think it'd be kind of cool if maybe ultimately we could do kind of something similar-ish to that, is to build up this idea that over the course of several seasons, Columbo is constantly sending us on wild goose chases. And in season 3, when we're trying to recover the NFT to destroy Mount Poon, we get sent on a wild goose chase. And I just thought it would be kind of interesting if that wild goose chase was a Columbo wild goose chase, another in a long line of them. But that's the first time that Tucker and Todd realize that Columbo has been kind of like acting against them. And so they have like a deep betrayal arc that lasts, I don't know, however long.
I choked on nothing. I don't know where that came from. I like that, but I especially like if it will later be revealed that that is the moment where Columbo actually caused time to diverge because he prevented us from ever getting trapped in the outside by sending us on that goose chase.
That's even better. That's a better.
But we take it as a betrayal,
yeah,
and we don't find out until much later that was him saving us from the events of stuff that led to the reset.
That's how those moves work, because you don't realize it until later. I like that a lot. I'm writing that down.
Yes, Columbo specifically intervenes to prevent us from repeating that, so that Mount Poon goes completely differently. There's never a big, massive outside breach, and life actually continues on uncharted after that.
Yeah.
Which would be when we manage to fully diverge from the Ghost of Christmas Past.
Oh,
anyway,
you saying
these
that
doors are swinging open.
Newspaper story headline: The Ghost of Christmas Past. He's dead now.
He's dead now.
Yeah. Okay.
These doors are swinging open. All of the so many of the doors are swinging open. There's probably a moment where Columbo is actually pretending like he's playing a xylophone with all these buttons that he's hitting. He's like singing along, singing in the rain.
Ooh.
As Columbo.
Oh, I said ooh.
Oh. Yes. He's singing along as he hits every button, so he opens every single containment thing, every single cell in this entire facility.
Yeah, it's a Clockwork Orange.
Yes. But everything is getting out. Ouch. It's a fire sale, everything must go. Anderson Coopist quickly gets swept up in the tide of all of these insane things that are being released from their cells.
Oh, yeah.
Tucker and Todd are off in a completely different sector of the facility, sweeping up like a little paper mess. Turns out that was the test subjects, just some guy's notes. The Fargo cops are still manning the door because they're so polite that they have to stay there just in case somebody else comes, and just in case Anderson Coopist needs to be let back out of the building.
What if somebody else comes? Okay, yeah. Fine.
They're paralyzed. They are trapped there. And our Steven Seagal is actually just kind of like, he's just amusing himself, making like spy movie noises as he like does really shitty, lazy fat man rolls down the hallway.
He's like whoosh. Ka-cha.
Yeah, like he's just amusing himself and doing lots of Dark Souls rolling around the hallways like he's yeah, he looks like that.
Oh, that'd be kind of...
but yeah, he's just, and he stops at every corner and peeks around. He's got like his hand in a finger gun. There's never a real gun. He's such a fucking loser.
I like the idea of Seagal as oh, damn it, I got distracted by this Dark Souls video. GIF, I should say. He's doing like his Tai Chi or what. Oh no, the thought I had was if Seagal meets Francis someday and Francis does his yeah and Seagal says no, it's hi ya.
Yeah. And then it's just the Duel of the Fates song comes on. And it's just like an old fat man and like a rodeo clown getting into a really awkward, ugly, low impact fight where they're just lots of grunting and like they're both And they're both covered in sweat within like 15 seconds of the thing beginning, and they're just puffing and gasping for air because Francis chain smokes and Steven Seagal hasn't been fit since the 70s.
That reminds me
And
of
they're just falling apart.
a Far Side comic. Am I gonna find it? Oh yeah, it came up.
But the Duel of the Fates plays in the background even as they're collapsing on each other. But maybe the Duel of the Fates is also played with a recorder because I love that trope so much.
Oh, that will be very funny. That's a good song for it too.
The recorder, do 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 do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really good on a shitty recorder.
I bet you that's already it feels like a thing that's already a meme.
Yeah, and we'll do it even better because it's Steven Seagal. But he's amusing himself in the hallways, and I think he's eventually going to roll his way right out the door where the Fargo cops let him out. And then no sooner do they open the doors than this tide of outside monstrosities, anomalies, and all kinds of weird, crazy shit gets let out the building. So the Fargo cops not only let Anderson Kupist in, they let all these things out. Steven Seagal dies.
That is a great one. If there is, I was gonna say, do we do the Spider-Man thing where somebody yelling, "Don't let them out," and the Fargo cops they petulantly are like they hold the door for everyone.
We hold this. Okay, then that's the one line Steven Seagal has because Tucker and Todd are still off somewhere else, and Columbo wants them to get out.
That's kind of funny. Seagal lumbering, hold the door.
Don't let them out.
Yeah. Close the door. Don't let them out.
And then he does a roll. Imagining him. I used to do that when I was a kid, you know? Like I would just amuse myself making like sound effects as I would move around.
Oh, I still do.
Yeah. And like he stops doing it for just the moment to say, "Don't hold the door, don't let them out," and then he immediately proceeds to continue doing that shit.
Like
what a
duck
fucking
for cover.
Yeah. And it doesn't help. He still gets taken out by this actual tide, this screaming torrent of tentacles, eyeballs, and like censorship mosaics that happen to be flying by.
There's just a Steven skid mark left on the floor.
Yeah. And then that's our opportunity for Straight DM to say, I'm sorry, Himbo, you've been reduced to negative 10 hit points. You are dead.
That's okay, man.
Yeah, he's chill about it. And then it immediately smash cuts back to this tide that's being let out by these Fargo cops.
Oh,
and then the last one that runs out should probably be Mike Wazowski.
That's very funny. I was gonna say, when it cuts back to the, I'm sorry, Himbo, you've been reduced to -10. Does he look over at the window and goes, "Hey, did you guys see that?" Everybody looks at the window and they're like, "Nah, we're just setting it up a little bit more. Tease it a little bit."
Yes. There's got to be some kind of screaming cacophony that's going on as all of these things flood out of the facility. And then as it smash cuts away to telling our Himbo astrologer that he's dead, his character's now dead, instead of smashing right back into the facility, we hear that screaming cacophony and somebody goes and shuts the window.
Fucking kids or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and like we can see out the window that there's already like fires and stuff and people screaming in the streets, but the number one thing you hear is that screaming, the same screaming sound as all those things. So we shut the window, close the blinds. We've now fired Chekhov's window, and then we can go back to the scene where Mike Wazowski runs out.
Mm-hmm.
He's huffing and puffing. He's a little bit slower and has less energy than all the rest of the stuff. He's like, "Thanks for holding the door, fellas," and he's out.
Oh, but is it in classic Mike Wazowski style? They let it close in his face right as he gets there.
Ow. Okay, that hurt. That was too funny.
Yes. I see you held the slam.
That's when they shut the door. I think that's the best way for us to honor Mike Wazowski too. He gets slammed in the door. That's perfect.
I mean, does he get slammed as a rejection, or is it the cartoon thing where he gets slammed? It's on like it gets slammed in his face, but it doesn't quite close on him, and he does the yeah cartoon injured.
I think he should smack into the glass and then do the slow slide down
Slide down. I like that. Yeah,
with his mouth
with
open
the
and
big
stuff.
grin. Yeah.
Oh, is he still grinning even though he just smacked the?
I'm trying to figure out how to borrow the joke of the first movie of the I'm on TV and the second movie of he's on the magazine cover, but he doesn't get the glory even though he is excited about it. Where he's like he's just I don't know.
I was thinking it would be more like the other 90% of the movie, which is him getting hurt
Oh
and
yeah.
not being happy about it. Just like the Schaden.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just nonstop Schadenfreude with him. He gets his hand bit. He sprays his eyeball. He just all the time.
It
Mike
really
Wazowski's
is,
getting
yeah.
hurt, and so that's exactly what this is that same level of slapstick. The doors must close and hit him right in the face. That means they open out instead of in. So
Yeah.
they open out, and our Fargo cops are standing outside holding each one door each. And then they think the tide is over, so they let the doors close. Mike Wazowski's like, "Hey, hold the door!" Wham!
He's
And
like
then he slides down the door.
in the middle of thanking them, and they're like, "Yep, that's about it." I think
Did
that's
you
the
hear
last of them.
something? Did you hear something? I can't hear anything after that.
Yeah, all I hear is screaming, bud.
Oh, that's normal. And then I guess this is when Tucker and Todd return to the control room after having completed their task, only to find the Columbo is no longer present.
Oh, and they're like put out. They're like, you can't just
Huh?
quit in the middle.
Yeah, he's not only is he gone from the control room, he's gone from the table and nobody noticed.
Oh, I like that. You can't just quit Columbo. It pulls out into the room. Columbo's not at the table. Whoa,
Oh,
where'd he go?
I guess you're gone. Yeah, and I guess our himbo astrologer will just be like, "It's fine, man." He took a lot of heroin before he started playing. Heroin.
Whatever gets you through the game.
Heroin. That's his dealer, Nancy.
That's pretty good. It's a small world.
Yeah, and so I guess that's when everybody decides to pack up the game. Columbo's gone. All the monsters have been released. The Fargo cops are like, "Well, our we've done our duty. We were very good doormen."
We look at straight DM. Are you still having fun? No.
Yeah, the only people who are happy about this are the Fargo cops.
Yeah.
Because they held the door for a lot of people, what they think were people. And so I guess everybody retires from the game, and Tucker and Todd go and put the news back on. They get out their
That's
bingo
good.
cards.
Bookend it.
Yeah, they get out their bingo cards and they put the news back on. The studio is probably in even worse shape than it was after their technical difficulties. So like the desk is on fire, and there's even fewer anchors still left. One of them has got an arm in a sling with a bullet wound in the shoulder.
Yeah, it's just Swiss cheese of bullet holes.
Yeah, in fact, the news studio is more bullet holes than studio now. And this is our opportunity for a third piece of news. And this one can be where we break the trope, where it's got to be something that actually disgusts everybody, but it's not so bad. Because they were all either thrilled or at least comfortable with super terrible news.
Right.
So now we have to break that mold with something that's really not so bad, but for some reason it seriously disgusts these guys.
Like some sort of like entertainment news level of stuff.
The wrong team won the game.
Yeah, one of those. Another Kardashian was born or divorced or whatever.
Kim Kardashian had her ass reduced.
Or it'd be kind of funny if we reference to the Kardashians in our world as some sort of like mega corporation. The Kardashians have created a grant for research of something or other. I don't know.
Oh, right. Since these are all super hyper conservative pundits, obviously the news is going to be something about how a brand new scholarship has been created for like African Americans, and they're all going to be mad about it. Because these are white nationalists.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to dress that up cynically. What was the name for they had a buzzword for hiring and creating more spaces for minorities.
Oh, shit.
I can't remember that word.
Affirmative action.
Affirmative action, yeah. I was trying to figure out how to play on that a little bit.
Eliminate unlawful discrimination. That would be something that these absolute jerkasses would be grumpy about, is affirmative action.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be the kind of thing that would cause an argument and another gunfight.
Oh, in the news studio?
Yes. However, if they get all butthurt about affirmative action in there, that's Tucker and Todd's opportunity to put down the bingo card and say they don't want to play anymore.
Or should it be
since our boys aren't good, but they're not that bad?
Or should it be some sort of snowflakey conservative thing? Like conservatives are responding snowflakily like to something that isn't that big of a deal, but they're acting as though it's the end of the world. I don't want to make I don't know.
As far as I know, the thing that offends conservatives the most is people that aren't white who happen to be.
Oh, is there some news story about affirmative action, but one of the news anchors is black, and that actually creates some...
Oh, that's some friction in the workplace.
Some friction in the workplace, yeah.
They're the last two standing.
Oh, is this how we finish it off with an off-screen hail of gunfire? We don't know who won, but we know that there was gunfire.
Yes, it probably takes out the camera, and then the thing just shuts off, and they're like, "Oh, now we don't even know who won." But even our boys will stop supporting the program after they get too jokey conservative.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I can support this anymore.
Well, yeah, they've gone all the way from cool gunfights to...
Oh, that'd be that could bookend it a little bit also, or I guess not even bookend it, but at least kind of like tie things up in a nice little bow, is if we like the news breaks or whatever, and we're like, nah, it's all for the best, or make some sort of reference to like television news has really gone off the rails lately. It's like we can't even finish a story anymore. I have heard that there's a nice deal on newspaper subscriptions. I'll sign up in the morning or something like that, like to reference how we're bringing
like
the paper boy
in. I like that. So yeah, now that they start fighting about affirmative action, another gunfight breaks out. Either the camera gets shot or Tucker and Todd themselves kind of tune out, and they're like, "Oh, this is getting politically uncomfortable." I liked it better when it was just about cool gunfights, and then they can set their stuff aside, and they're like, "You know what? News media is really gone down the shitter. What I'd really like is a return to print."
Hey, that sounds pretty good.
And then yeah, we can segue. I hear that there's a new newspaper service in our local area. We should sign up for that. Then we can read the news.
What?
Then how are we going to watch gunfights? We'll just have our own gunfights.
There's always Russian YouTube channels.
FPS Russia.
Yeah. Where did we leave Anderson Kupist?
Oh, he got swallowed up by the tide of monsters that escaped.
All right. Okay. So he's around.
He's been enveloped by all of these things. They've escaped.
Right.
And he was swept up in the tide. Rather than being trampled into a skid mark like Steven Seagal, he was just carried off.
Right. Maybe that allows for a chance for him to have been like infected or consumed by one of them.
Oh yeah, we'll catch hints of what actually occurred after they all get out, like later.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking that the Mandalorian might show up to hunt some of those things.
Yeah. Is there any room for that in this? Maybe that's next week. We can bring him in.
Yeah. We might only see the results of his handiwork.
Sure.
But somebody can definitely name drop him and say, this is the work of the Mandalorian. The what?
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe we're fans. We follow him on social media, or we've watched his reality series or something.
No, I like that guy. I look at him. I'm subscribed to him on Instagram.
Yeah. You haven't heard of the Mandalorian? He has like
world-class interdimensional bounty hunter has an Instagram.
Yeah. You got to keep up with
not? Why the fuck not?
Got to wake up at 4 a.m. and post those reels.
Gosh. Yes, that's something we can play around with in another episode. Those monsters are now all on the loose.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Rather than killing them off and tying them up now, better to let them get out there and run amok.
Well, we've provided ourselves an opportunity that we didn't even bother cashing in on last time, which was that this sets us up to play Freak of the Week if we want to. We were trying
absolutely.
Yeah.
We can every now and then we can just run into one of these things like we're the Men in Black.
Yeah. Columbo and Jeff Bridges are off investigating.
Oh, we still need to bring Jeff into this.
He'll be there. We're gonna work it in.
Yes. He's probably in limbo somewhere.
Drifting.
Yeah, the restore affects the heavenly things a little bit differently. They don't necessarily get wiped or have their memories erased or get sent back to their own home dimension, but they might get sent to like an interdimensional waiting room.
Yeah, hibernation mode.
Yeah, so they're kind of it's like that scene in Beetlejuice where they've got a number.
Yeah.
Waiting to get let back in.
That's interesting. I know I hop all over the place. I remember us having a scene, I think in season 2, maybe it's in 3. Yeah, I think it was in 3 because we went with Plato, where we went to the waiting room to see God, but the line was like, how was that? It was exponentially growing.
Yeah, I seem to recall that as well.
That would be that place.
That would be that place. But everybody shuts down the game. We decide we're tired of visual news media. We want to go back to print. And then we play like some kind of sinister violin note on the newspaper subscription.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when we can kind of Looney Tunes the little circle that gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Only
cool.
It focuses in on Todd's sand boobs. And that little shock of spiky chest hair that's still sticking out.
Oh, does it do the cartoon thing where it focuses in and it just stays as a little eye hole, and Todd goes like, "Do you mind?" and then it like winks shut.
Yeah. Yes. It's like and it just kind of shifts up, and then Todd kind of wiggles his beard disapprovingly, and then it shuts.
That's funny.
And then we roll credits, and then we call it a night, everybody.
That is a night. That is another episode of the Tucker and Todd cast. That's not even what it's called anymore.
Yeah, this has been a Snideful production.
This has been another Snideful production. Thanks everybody for coming along. I've been Todd.
I've been Tucker.
And we'll catch you in the next one.
Yes, we will do that.
Thank you for listening to Snideful.
Hosted by Tucker and Todd.
Right.
I'm Gigi.
And I'm Craig.
If you'd like, you can send an email to snideful@gmail.com.
Or search Snideful on social media.
Which ones?
I don't know.
Great. Whose idea was that?
I don't know.
Classic. I'll just put a link in the description.
You can do that?